So different types of resistors. You have just the normal one. Then you have one that looks like it has a hockey stick through it, or hockey top. Hockey stick. This is a thermistor, and a thermistor is sensitive to, as you may have guessed, changes in temperature. And so the idea is that as you increase as the temperature of a circuit increases, then the resistance of the thermistor actually decreases. So as the temperature increases, the resistance to this, which is opposite to what normally happens in a system. Normally when we talk about if like a wire heats up, the resistance in that wire increases. But here, the resistance will decrease, right? So this is used in things like refrigerators or freezers where you want to keep it cold. And so the idea is if the temperature starts to creep up, then the resistance decreases. And because the resistance decreases, then that leads to an increase in current. And if you're ever asked about that, it's because of this equation, right? So let's say you have a freezer. Think about if you have a freezer, okay, and it starts to warm up, then the idea is that the resistance is going to decrease. The voltage being supplied to that freezer hasn't changed at all. So the voltage stays the same. And so if the resistance is decreasing here, then that means the current I is going to increase. So this idea is very critical, not just for a thermistor, but for any other type of, so also for a light-dependent resistor, which I guess I'll talk about next. So a light-dependent resistor has two little arrows going onto it. It's sometimes called just an LDR, but that stands for light-dependent resistor. But you can just use the abbreviation if you want. And a light-dependent resistor is the same thing as the thermistor, except with light instead of temperature. So the idea is that as the light increases, then the resistance is going to decrease. And if the resistance decreases, again, that is going to lead to an increase in your current. All right. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, then there's one that has an arrow through it. This is a variable resistor. And what that allows you to do is simply vary the resistance. So this is very useful if you want to, for example, if you're setting up an experiment and you want to look at how changing current affects voltage or vice versa, or you want to change the amount of voltage that is present within your system. The idea is that you can put this in, and then by changing it, you can change the voltage that's in your system and therefore change the current. So this is often something you want to include in a setup. If they ask you to draw a circuit diagram saying like how current varies with voltage, then you would need to set up a circuit that has a variable resistor in it. Or you could set up one with a variable power supply, which we don't have a symbol for. You would just have to draw it. The last type of resistor that you will sometimes encounter looks like this, and that is a diode. And the purpose of a diode is that it allows current to only flow in one direction, or the electrons literally to flow in one direction. And so what that essentially does is that it turns something that was alternating current, where the electrons are traveling in both directions, into direct current. And if you're not sure what that means, go see my other video. So it changes alternating current into a direct current.